Here I am, Beyond C, aka Morpheus. You are now listening to the Academy of Wow Man. And here we are again today with another wonderful, great lesson and eye-opening situation to share with you today. Now, for some of you who don't know, my alias name that I receive is Morpheus. And there is really real reasons why I've been called Morpheus. There's reasons in my personal world, and I've explained it to you before that I've been given that name. I didn't call myself that name. There is so many other Morpheuses, so I'm nobody special. I'm just one of maybe thousands. But today it's going to explain why I'm called that, and also the details that I really hate machines. I don't like machines, and I know what the game plan is for machines. And I understand what the grid work is all about, and I do comprehend what happens when you relinquish your human superiority over to a computer chip, which is an artificial intelligent computer chip that has the ability to learn and to do what you could do. And a lot of the majority of the mind-blocked, self-hating human beings that disregard themselves, or you could say ignore themselves, to live a luxurious, lazy lifestyle, there is a major consequence. And as a matter of fact, let me give you a Shangri-La. The consequences is what you're dealing with today, where people are highly sensitive, especially men. People don't take accountability. There's not a lot of mental infrastructure based on the strength of oneself. There's a lot of people who require therapy who isn't getting therapy or enough of it. And the children aren't raised like they used to. They're raising children up in a weakened state of mind, or you could say from a weak parent to create a weak offspring, which is that particular child. And what we don't comprehend, or shall I say you on the often, is it starts from a single seed. It starts with the basic. Everything starts with a seed, a basic, an infrastructure, a foundation that grew to be what it is today. You know, to make a little small comparison on the side note, it's almost like a geese, for example. The geeses are very unique birds. And you can see how they grow and how big they are with their adult wings and their adult body. But oftentimes people forget that they came from an egg, a very small egg, almost as big as a normal chicken egg that you would eat in the morning. You know, whether it's brown egg, white egg, or whatever else. They come from eggs just like that. And over time, those geese, they are developed by their mother and our father geese being strolled and walked around. I'm pretty sure you've seen a few of them, and they're just little bitty small geese, almost yellowish green. Then they start getting brown. Then their feathers start turning even more brown, and they start getting bigger and taller, and they start growing wings just like their parents. See, the way the world is today is because we forget, and that's what they want you to do. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to go into details. People who make money from the cattle, which is the common human being, they want you to forget history. They want you to forget yourself. They want you not to know what you're capable of doing as a human being, so they can continue to make robots and computers and systems to think and to do for you as you become a tomato, which is most of you. And if you want an example, a tomato head is all these unnecessary atrocities that you witness and or see on the news. All these mass deletions that you see on the news. It's a potato head. Tomato, excuse me. Potatoes are harder. Tomatoes are a little more softer. They can get bruised real easy. Bleeds easy too. So a lot of these tomato people came from a seed of ignorance. There was a parent or a great grandparent or a family member who ignored the mental illness of the particular person and or allow this person to do what? To neglect their human possibilities, meaning staying healthy, being physically fit, eating the right type of food, being socially in tune, not socially awkward, not being introvert, being extrovert, being the man that they're supposed to be or the woman that they're supposed to be a good citizen or a producer for society. So what happens is it comes from a very encroached, not so aggressive place that only the dummy cannot see. But an open-minded individual has the ability to understand that the plan is not to help you, it's to hurt you. It's not to help you, it's to hurt you on the general basis. See, what we're getting ready to talk about is these machines that they're creating. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. And I'm going to get into in-depth and I'm going to give you some descriptions as well. See, you don't understand that they are making robots to replace you. They're making computers to replace you, and they want you to think that it's to help you. They want to bring it in by letting you think that they're not going to completely replace you or replace your jobs or replace your companions. This is how they're coming in, because they can't really tell the average person that they plan on actually really replacing you and making you obsolete. So they have to come in and tell you, well, it's really not that we're trying to replace your job. It's really not that we're trying to take away your humanity. This is just a cleaner robot. You know, this is just a robot that's just going to be working on the fry machine. This is a robot that's just going to be vacuuming your floor. Oh, it's okay. It's completely harmless. That's no different than several years ago, before Edward Snowden began to blow the whistle, where most corporations and places and internet servers would tell you, oh, we're not getting to your information. We're not trying to poach on your data. We're not being nosy. We don't know where you are and what you're doing in 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's just a simple internet site. It's just a simple phone service. Nobody's going to see the phone service. This is you and your business. And then come to find out, several years later, with the exposure of not just him, but several other people, whistleblowers, you begin to understand that, wait a minute, they are selling our data. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. They've been doing that for the longest time. And again, it's because they can't really tell you directly, because they know you're going to freak out. So they have to lie to you. And you've learned a long time ago not to trust a human being. You've learned a long time ago not to trust a human being. But y'all do it anyway, because, you know, we love to be ignorant. And we don't naturally well, I can't say that word, but y'all know what I'm getting ready to say. We don't naturally meet the grave by natural orders. Most times we pull it in our direction because of our ignorance of self. You know, we get ourselves in contracts, we get ourselves in situations that we don't realize that we are encroached by the enemy that want to devour our world and transform us from human to non-human, or human to transhumans, like I've discussed several times before. And to move this chapter forward in our conversation, I have other things to share with you as well. I begin to wonder, like, who are these geeks who's creating these robots and going into the offices and thinking it's a good idea to make a dancing robot, and these robots who can sing and run around and got their own mindset, are everything is automated, where you just sit down behind the desk. And I begin to think, I did an analyst and some research, because I'm not a biased person, I'm not judging it. And the disclaimer is, I'm not picking on any individual or corporation. This isn't about disparity. I'm not raising hatred towards any infrastructure. And this is not about any sort of, what do you call that, violence. I'm not ensuing violence. I'm not suggesting violence, nor condoning violence. I'm discussing a simple situation that is happening. And according to what's happening, it is I won't say an opinion, but it is based on real life facts that we need to analyze if we are to make a choice. And those choices are up to you. Should you take the information and use it wisely, or be ignorant like the 90% of people and let your world be what it is today, as it is declining in quality. That is just common sense. So onward to what I was saying. I had a hunch. I had to picture these people and wonder what they look like, because you got to spend a lot of time behind the computer. You have to spend a lot of time in the offices and putting wires together and doing brainstorming. And I kind of figured that I can't see them in the gym 4 days a week or 3 days a week, sometimes even 1 day a week. I can't see them, tall, dark, and handsome with a decent fade, even though there's probably exceptions to the rule. There may be a few computer geeks like that. There may be. I'm not saying that they're not. I didn't say that they're not. I said the majority of them, most likely they have to be these type of people who hate their body, or they look like they hate their body, even if they don't, because we don't know what they think. But they got to neglect their human sense of being to invest so much into computers and robots and worship them as if they're gods. Okay? So there was an interview with a computer geek from a place named Google. Okay? Now, again, I'm not talking about Google. I'm talking about there was a worker from Google, and I have the description down there in the box. Actually, I got the video down there for you to look at yourself. It's saved for you, and you can look at it after this lesson today. Look at the way the dude looks. Listen to the conversation. What I want you to do is use your red pill lens and listen to this guy and look at him. Watch what he says about the computers and the robots that they're generating and creating. Because he looked like a dude who you won't find in the gym. His face is even fat. It looked like his face got, when he eats his food, it stays stuck in his face, and the rest of the body, you can imagine what that looks like. Like he got an upside down head or something like that. Yeah, he got glasses. He looks like the common geek that, of course, he would be behind a computer and worship wires and plastic and robots, because look at his body. It's almost as if, let me give you an example. I know you pretty much understand what I'm talking about. It's almost like let's see a lumberjack who has to make houses out of wood. Okay? This may be a bad description, but it's something that you can probably understand if you got your open-mindedness and you're an adult. And he has to build several cottages and several wooden cabins in a certain amount of time, in a certain amount of month or years. So he's going to have to make sacrifices. He's not going to be in the gym all the time. He's not going to be focused on, probably even cleaning himself. His underarms probably stink, like rotted watermelon or something like that. He probably look like he smell like piss. So, he's too focused on making these log cabins, and he's out there chopping away all the time, every day. So when you transform that to people who care about robots, it's one thing to create it for a job and to say, this is what I do, this is what I program to do as a, a technician, but a technician or engineer. But it's another thing when you love to do it and you say, yeah, worship robots. Yeah, they're so awesome and they're so great. And I think it's so cool we making these robots that can move and talk. That's where their focus is, where they don't understand that they're giving this machine power over the power that they have. And then they're so confident that this machine won't turn against them, where they go past any warning barrier. They go past any issue where trying to make a computer that is self-aware might be self-aware to get mad at you and probably put you in the grave. It might be mad at you and go bonkers and haywire, because computers do that all the time. And you want some evidence? I'll give you evidence. Let's be adults here. Almost every automobile that's been manufactured from the manufacturer themselves has had flaws. They've had failures in the electronic system. They had computer failures. They had airbag failures. There's been recalls, and there's been even more recalls to date than it used to be, because a lot of these new cars are a lot more technical and a lot more complex when it comes to their wiring and their electricity. Even some cars catch on fire. I gave you a video about that. When you overcomplicate a thing, it is going to blow up in your face eventually, and probably even literally. And you would wonder, you say, well, why are you saying this, LCM? You know, who do you think you are? You don't know these geeks. I mean, people, you don't know these computer nerds. You don't know about them. What do you mean? How are you going to say this about this guy? You don't know him personally. Well, you have a video down there, and he's telling you to your face. He's telling the interviewer exactly what he thinks about these robots. And he doesn't represent the whole geek squad. I'm not saying that that's what he does and he's doing, but he's representing what maybe a majority of them might be thinking, because you have to have that mindset to be eager, or you could say ignorant enough, to make a computer to be smarter than you, stronger than you, faster than you, and you think this computer is going to serve you. When you're doing that, you are ignoring the red flags of any history. What I tell you before, they want you to forget about history. They want you to forget about all the recalls, things that fail in houses, homes, and even infrastructures. There's been skyscrapers that have fallen over. There's been multiple electric units that just so happened to go out without a storm, based on how it was made, because it was made by a human being, and humans aren't perfect species on the planet, are beings. That's what we call human beings. They fail, and they make failure to the point where it will catch you off guard, and most times when it do, your life is in jeopardy, or maybe your entire family or children, because you put so much faith and comfort. And I'm using faith because that's your word, not mine. Faith is just ignorance. That's all it is. It's not even in my dictionary. For you, it might be, because that's like speaking your kindergarten language. You put too much stock and trust into people who are frail. So what happens is, when you have too much confidence, this is when you get caught off guard. You have multiple situations in your history, such as volcanoes erupting, because this so-called smart person who was responsible for the grounds and landscaping or whatever else. I can't think of the name. Y'all know what the name is. I don't care. These people, scientists are saying, oh, this volcano haven't erupted in 56 years. It will never erupt. It haven't erupted in 200 years. And, it's just dormant. It's a dead volcano. And then you see on the news, it's on your dumb phone. All you got to do is pick your sausage fingers up and look, if you care to. You see this volcano erupting and pretty much deleting thousands of people as this lava is pouring from the volcano. They'll tell you, oh, there'll never be a hurricane over here, or this will never flood over here. There's no tsunamis over here. Yeah, it never snows in California. It never rains in Florida and drops below a certain degree. And then it happens, and you sit there like, God, what happened? Because you dummies keep putting your faith in people who are humans, or shall I say, frail, confident people in their own creations, but they have no confidence in nature. They hate nature, which is the whole point. The whole point is this, of that rant, that is, when you have a people who disregard nature, and they try to become gods themselves by destroying or ignoring nature to create computers and technology and machines in order to function or to exist as the parasites they usually are, then nature will prove to you that you can't control nature. Nature will surprise you. Nature will come around and kick you in the balls and let you know that they are the boss, or shall I say that it is the boss. It's been told that time and time again, and when average people do their best to ignore it, that's when you get the worst catastrophe. That's when you get the worst tsunamis. That's when you get the worst explosions. That's when you get the worst natural disasters, because you have a group of cattle, which are sheep, who don't think for themselves. They follow the leader, which the leader is supposed to have some type of badge or authority in complete knowledge of the situation, and they don't, because they're not God. They're just a human being. You heard? Now, this may sound like a conspiracy theory. It may sound very crazy to some of you who are still connected to the wires in the back of your head. I get it. You may not comprehend. You might have a negative rebuttal. That's okay, because there are several people who had negative rebuttals years ago when our more wiser, older ancestors warned us about the stuff that we're doing today, like the internet, the dumb phones that you call smartphones, and every other infrastructure that you've created. Now look how the world is crumbling right before you, because a lot of some of your people during that time did not understand that they were being warned. So it's not a conspiracy. These are facts for you to think about. And there's a connection to it. And let me go ahead and get into it. See, movies are very valuable because some of them is to entertain you. But in some movies, they're really trying to tell you something that you need to understand. And it's amazing how some things that we deal with is so close to movies that it's scary, but it's real. And we haven't learned our lesson, which is very, very interesting to me. It's like, I understand some of us are stupid. I get it. I get that some of us are ignorant of ourselves. But damn, the movies tell you to your face what could possibly happen, and y'all make it reality. Movies aren't supposed to be lived in real life. They're supposed to be for entertainment, but you smart people make it happen. There's a movie called The Terminator, right? Some of you who may know or don't know about the Terminator movie, it started off with, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger being the Terminator, who was there to try to eliminate these two people called the Connors, right? Sarah Connor and his child and so forth, because they were raging against the machine. But in the story, the one who created these machines was called Skynet. I know that sounds familiar with some of you. Skynet. Skynet made a military full of computers and machines. Like what you see now in your world. Like what you see now in your world. Like what you see now in your world. And there were several interviews with some of the scientists of Skynet. And a lot of them was surprised that their machines turned on them. And long story short, Sarah Connor, and I think it's her son, I could be wrong, it's her son or daughter, they had to go back in time and actually go to Skynet and change the security code before the so-called security chief, or shall I say the military chief, pushed the code in to make the machines aware, because as soon as he did that, the machines was corrupted and started turning on humans and deleting them. But those machines were also corrupted because there was a female Terminator who was an anti-Terminator, which purposely started putting viruses in those machines. Now, we can dedicate that to a different subject, a different time. You can play with that however you want to, but I consider that as a sort of like a complex subject, like an insinuation of something that we're not looking at, such as making the world a lot more plush, a lot more soft, a lot more passive, less masculine, where even now you see women going their own way, talking about they don't need a man, and, you know, they got more PhDs than hair on their head, and, you know, they're out there making their own money. So what happens is, or happening is, the system itself as a whole, which is an invincible grid, it's being infiltrated against what it naturally was several years ago, where, of course, it was men who were out there generally getting the bag, making the money, so forth and so on. And then it may not be just the female themselves. It can be the mindset, not generally women to be the blame, but it's the mindset of the society, because it's becoming less masculine, less concentrated on creating logical infrastructures. More infrastructures are made from the emotional, illogical standpoint of view, whereas when most people are operating out of emotions, you have people who want to just fight in the middle of the parking lot, people with road rage situations, or want to mass delete a group of people, because a lot of that is an emotional outburst, not a logical one. Because logic says there's going to be consequence to all this. Logic say, why am I mad at the world? I should just get mad at myself. And now, why would you want to bring everybody down with you? If you're having the 0 point of your life, you're at the lowest point of your life, why take other people's lives with you when, of course, it's hurtful? You shouldn't do it, and I'm not condoning it, but if you want to jump off the cliff, don't take everybody with you. Logic will say do that, but when you're emotional, you want the world to feel your pain. You want to scream the loudest because you want everybody to hear you, and the way that they do that is by trying to take everybody down with them and making a splash and making headline news. That's an emotional standpoint of view, which can equate, or you can say tether, to the idea of the female anti-Terminator that infiltrated the system that made the AI to be aware. And you say, where does the computer come in line, Morpheus? Well, we're going to talk about it right now. I'm going to tell you where the computer comes in line. Because in the interview, switching over to this chapter, segue over here, in the interview, the interviewer asked him several questions that you would. What do you think about this computer? Do you think the computer has a mind of its own? Do you think the computer has its own soul? Is it a person? Is it alive? Do you think this computer should be respected as a human being, like the movie Number 5? Some of y'all don't know about that. That's a very old movie. I like to look at very old movies to see where we have come from and see how the movies have advanced to more animatronics and things like that. That was a machine that came aware of itself, almost like AI with Will Smith. When you got all those computers that was in a room, AI, remember? Or I think it was called, iRobot. There you go. I almost got it wrong. iRobot. That was the movie. And the machines were aware. One of them was even more aware than the rest of them, where he winked his eye at Will Smith. Okay, something like that. Where he was asking the guy in the interview that was, I guess he used to work from Google or something like that. And the guy described everything according to what a Skynet worker said about their death-creating machines. Oh, they're completely safe. Oh, they're all right. I think there are living people. And yeah, they got emotions of their own. And well, they're no different than you. They're no different than an actual human being. I guess they do have feelings and they think for themselves. And when you listen to this guy talk like this, basically what he's saying in a nutshell, when you think about it, listen to him carefully. What he is saying is that their computers that they're making is no different than you. The only thing is different is they got wires and a computer chip, and they're made out of plastic and probably different type of metals that you don't have in your human body. And another thing that the interviewer was asking this geek, I'm trying to be respectful. I really want to say something else, but I can't. I'm really trying to hold back because I'm very you should understand what type of pain I'm in right now. As an alpha male, this enrages me that we have men like this around here. Most people who know me outside of YouTube and social media, I'm the type of guy who's a sergeant that'll kick your ass. I'm the type of guy who will put you in line. I'm the type of guy who, I'm a zero tolerance. I don't take stupidity and weak. There's no weak men around me. There's no weak men around me. I don't tolerate. I don't suffer fools. I don't. I'm at zero with everything. If you're a man, I'm going to treat you like a man, and I'm going to make you man up, just like a boot camp. You can look at it like that. I'm a boot camp type of guy. If you're slumping in your chair, I'm going to let you know you're slumping, and I wish you would jump, because I'm ready for you. I don't play that type of stuff. So seeing this supposed to be guy, which I doubt it, supposed to be guy, talk intimately about a robot that isn't real, or shall I say, is a robot without feelings. It don't have a soul. It's insignificant. It's a machine that's supposed to be made to serve human beings. But what he is actually saying is it's as equal as a human being and should be respected as one. That's what he's saying. And of course, he was also saying that he was trying to whistleblow himself and ask questions to his company that he was working for. So my fingers isn't completely pointed at him, but I did not hear in any of his tone, I did not hear him describe how he is worried about the computers overtaking humans. That's the problem. It didn't seem like he was really trying to wave a red flag. It didn't look like he was serious. It looked more like he was more proud of the machines than he was disgusted of the machines. So he's another person that can't be trusted in that situation, because it seems like he's more on the side of, yeah, they're alive and they have a mindset of their own, and yeah, they're moving and breathing just like you. If anything, he should be saying, let's just shut this stuff down. We need to shut it down. Let me take a drink, ladies and gentlemen, because my voice is getting kind of dry here. Yeah, excuse me. So I can add more to it, but I'm going to keep it short, simple, and sweet right here. I want you to look at the description box below, and they will always tell you, no matter where you go, just like when you go to buy here, pay here, our car, please, they'll say, yeah, man, this car is great. It got a 300,000 mile powertrain warranty. All right, yeah, you know, these tires are forever. Or you got some of these oil filters that'll say, yeah, you don't have to change your oil for like the next 8,000 miles. Then there's even some oil that they'll say, well, you don't have to change your oil for the next, year, 2 years. And y'all dumb enough to stand by them and trust them. And then your engine break down. Your engine overheat. You don't understand why, because the average person cannot be trusted. But y'all keep thinking that they care about you, and they don't. They make things for their own benefit, because a lot of times those who are making these robots and computers and things like that, they got the power to do so, because if things go haywire, they're in their castle, you're not. They're protected, you're not. All they'll do is get fined for a couple of $1 million if somebody get hurt or deleted because of it. But you will suffer because your kids, your family, or your life cannot come back. You're gone. And all they can do is give you a check because they're sued for a couple of $1 million. They don't care. They already made like 50 billion off of your dumb ass. So what is $2 million to you and your family? Nothing. You're just a liability. They call that, there's a word for that. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Collateral damage. Collateral damage. You're just collateral damage. You're just a kink in their armor on their way to becoming a trillionaire off of you. That's all you are. So therefore, they're willing to make machines like this and not care about the conditions that it might destroy the world and the infrastructure, because they don't have that to worry about. They're kings in their castle, but you keep providing money for them and investing in their machines and their technology, and you think you're okay. As a matter of fact, you put all your information and your energy and your life on the internet, which those particular companies take anyway. Because you're so smart and you love your next generation and your children, because they got to come up behind you being a computer loving moron. That's going to replace you one of these days, and your wife and your children's jobs, because they're doing it already. It's already on the road. It's already in your restaurants. Don't take my word for it. Listen to this guy. Check the description box below, and he'll tell you everything himself. Just listen to him. And listen to the interviewer, and you come up with your own understanding of this. But I'll tell you this, all infrastructure started like this, and it was a warning sign for the world. Look at where your world is today, and look at where it's going to be in the future. I mean business, and I mean to save lives.